Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are returning. Today I want to talk about a very common topic that gets discussed all over this community. Today I want to talk about affirmations, and specifically answer a lot of the commonly asked questions I get about affirmations so that you can utilize this technique and get the best results possible. If you are new here, hi, my name is Missy Renee. I am a mindset and manifestation coach, and on this channel we talk all things manifestation, mindset, and how to transform your life in the best way possible. So if manifestation and conscious creation are topics that you are interested in learning more about, then definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy this video and enjoy my content, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you are interested in any of my resources, such as one-on-one coaching, my workshops and courses, or my group coaching program, I have links to all that information down in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. And the reason that I felt compelled to make this video is because I get asked a lot of questions about affirmations. Now, I have made a video about affirmations a while ago. If you're interested, you can check that one out after this. I'll leave the link for that up here and also down in the description box. But that video is pretty old. You have to go way back in the collection. And I figured it is well overdue to make an update to this and address some of the most frequently asked questions that I get. I also want to address a few things that I've heard and clarify a few things about affirmations and some of the areas where people that are not utilizing this in the best way possible. And I have to note that there may be some things that maybe not everyone is going to be on board with. Some people might feel defensive about this video and what's going to be said here, because for some reason people are really touchy on this subject. So for the sake of playing nice, I want to encourage everybody to come into this with an open mind, a willingness to learn, and try new approaches and new ideas if affirmations have not been working for you. We are adults here and we can act like it, so everybody be kind. So all of that said, let's jump into the video. First off, most everybody has heard of affirmations. If you have studied Neville Goddard and the Law of Assumption, or even just manifestation in general, if you have been a fan of self-help, these have been around forever. This is one of the oldest techniques in the book. So for the vast majority of the people watching this video, you have an understanding of what affirmations are. It is a short mental statement that you are claiming and you are asserting as truth. Affirmations are taking something that we ideally want to accomplish or that we want to achieve and stating it as if it's already a present fact. And as I mentioned, affirmations are wildly popular. They've been around forever in the self-help and manifestation community. Well before most people even heard of Neville Goddard, most people had heard of or even were using affirmations. There are many of those who swear by these and swear by the fact that affirmations help to radically change their lives. And in fact, as most people have probably come to find out, if you have been studying the Law of Assumption and watching different YouTube channels or reading up on different blogs, different forums, or Facebook groups, most of the people in this community teach that affirmations are a must and that you need to be affirming and you need to be declaring every day as the person that you desire to be. And this approach is mixed at best. And this is another reason that I really needed to make this video, because it seems like there are more and more people coming into this community and talking about the Law of Assumption every day. Seems like every day that goes by, there is a new teacher, there is a new coach, there's a new guru talking about the law. And for many of them, arguably most of them, they're going to say that affirmations are a must. But honestly, this may not be the very best approach. And before anybody starts to bring out the pitchforks, let me finish. Many people that I'm talking to are saying some things that are a little bit alarming. So I have to come in and clear up a few misconceptions that some are teaching about affirmations. And this is where I need to take a moment to pause and encourage everybody to go into this with an open mind. Please watch this video through the end before coming to any kind of conclusion or thinking that I'm trying to sow discord here. That said, there does need to be an addressing of the most common question that I get, and that is, do I need to believe my affirmations? Do I need to feel them? Or can I just make a statement and through blunt repetition, it will become a subconscious impression? And the short answer to that is, it really depends. And this is something that really needs to be stressed. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. There are many, many people that have had wild success with affirmations by just the sheer repetition of a positive statement stated as if it's now a present fact. That alone was able to propel people and help people ultimately achieve their goal and get their manifestation. Many have claimed that this is true and accurate. Affirmations can be an incredible tool, and it can be very, very powerful to utilize. And when working in your favor, they can radically change your life. But for many out there, this is not always the best approach. And some of the things that people are teaching when it comes to affirmations can be not only ineffective, but sometimes even harmful if you're not careful. It might even make things worse. There have been many instances and many people who claim that by stating an affirmation, it didn't help, they didn't see any change, and it didn't do anything for them. And let's just be honest here, it has not worked for everyone. And the reason for this is quite simple, and that is because whatever beliefs and assumptions you carry, if they are in contrast with this affirmation or what you ultimately desire to see manifest, you may be met with a lot of resistance or a lot of pushback. For those that are familiar with the law, know that it is our beliefs and our assumptions that typically create the blueprint of our lives. These are the building blocks which make up the concept of self or our self-concept. And the self-concept is ultimately what creates in our world. So if I have a belief that I'm not good enough, that people ultimately hurt you, and that you can't trust people in a relationship because it never works out, if these are the kinds of beliefs and assumptions that have been instilled, then that's going to be my experience. I'm going to manifest or create scenarios and circumstances where these things happen. If I assume that somebody is going to do something, they're going to do it, ultimately. So if I have this subconscious belief and I use a statement, a conscious statement to try to counter that, that could put me in a place where there's now internal conflict, because ultimately I'm not believing what I'm saying. I might be saying this positive affirmation over and over again, but subconsciously I'm rejecting it because I don't believe it. And this is something that many, many people have encountered and have struggled with. And I have certainly followed in this camp myself. This was something that I struggled with greatly for a long time because the way that I was approaching affirmations was not very effective for me. And there's a reason why we have this experience. And ultimately it comes down to what is known as the law of reversed effort, or the backwards law. And that law states that anytime that the conscious mind and subconscious mind are in conflict, it's the subconscious mind that wins every time. Basically, that means that if you are trying to consciously think something against a subconscious belief or conviction, that it's going to be the subconscious belief or assumption that wins. Now, before people bust out the pitchforks and start going all angry in the comment section, I want to be very clear that there are also many people that have seen a tremendous success with affirmations. Even if they didn't believe it, even if they didn't have any feeling attached to it, they noticed a significant change when they began to use positive affirmations or positive statements. And that is kind of the entire point of this video, is that it is going to be different for everyone. So I am not here to say that it is an absolute requirement to feel and believe your affirmations, and otherwise it doesn't work. I don't like to use black and whites in that manner. For some, it absolutely can work, but for others, there could be a huge, huge drawback from this. And because I know that some of you might be saying, Missy, that's not true. It absolutely does work for everybody. Doesn't matter because that's what the science shows us. There is science behind affirmations. And to that I say, you are absolutely right. There are studies that show that by creating a repetitious statement, we can make a new neural pathway, or essentially overcome an old habit. However, there's also science that shows that this practice can be harmful if we're not careful. And don't worry, I've got all the sources linked down in the description box so you can check it out yourself. But there have been many, many studies done when it comes to affirmations, and the results can show a mixed bag. Generally speaking, they tend to have a positive effect. When utilized with other techniques or other types of coaching, that is when people tend to see the best results instead of just using the affirmations alone. One of the most famous ones was a 2009 peer-reviewed study that came out stating that affirmations work for some, but are perilous for others. And yes, those were her exact words. And why is that? Why is it for some it works and others it doesn't? Well, again, it comes down to, typically speaking, the beliefs and assumptions, the core beliefs and assumptions, specifically the self-esteem somebody has. In this study, psychologist Joanne Wood argues that for those that already had a better self-esteem, they saw more success with these positive affirmations versus those that had lower self-esteem. They already generally had high or higher self-esteem than most, so they didn't find it very hard to believe the statements that they were saying. But for others, those with lower self-esteem, or for those that may be going through a particular difficult time, they struggled with this. And not only was it ineffective for this group, but it actually made it worse. According to psychologist and author Heinz Kohut, and I'm probably butchering that name, I apologize, who was considered the grandfather of psychology himself, said that the fear of failure is often intrinsically linked with the fear of abandonment that we experience perhaps in childhood. He went on to state that for those who have an extreme fear of failure, by creating a positive self-affirmation and not seeing the results or not seeing it come to fruition led to catastrophic results. Ultimately, for these folks, that fear of failure was triggered hard to the point where they were more likely to give up on any kind of self-help entirely. And this is really what it comes down to, is that it is going to be different depending on the person. And this has been something researched time and time again. And it shows that for those people that have a lower self-esteem versus their peers who have higher self-esteem, receiving that compliment or that same action actually made them feel even worse. Dr. Wood went on even further to say, most self-help books advocating positive affirmations may be based on good intentions or personal experience, but they are rarely based on scientific evidence. Now, to be clear, Dr. Wood did not say that positive affirmations are bad or that they're completely useless. Basically stated, positive affirmations were shown to have the best results when used in conjunction with other tools and other means of helping the client or the patient. And after doing a lot of research myself, and after going through my own personal experience and coaching many people, I found this to be pretty accurate and pretty true. There are many psychologists that argue that trying to correct negative thoughts can actually wind up intensifying them. It's basically the concept of the pink elephant. If you try to tell somebody not to think of a pink elephant, what's the first thing that they're going to do? So by trying to tell people not to think negative thoughts, it might actually even be encouraging them to further think those thoughts. In short, what a lot of the experts agree on, and from what I've encountered with my own experience and the experience of many others that I've coached, affirmations alone by themselves may not always be the most effective approach. They can be for some, but not broadly speaking. Okay, so, and what are some ways that we can utilize affirmations with more success? Number one is to reframe the affirmation and make it more unique to you. It's something that resonates with you. Most of the affirmations that people were using with little to no effect tended to be a lot more broad and general, and ones that they couldn't relate with at all. Instead, what we want to try to do is reframe this affirmation or reword it in a way that begins to actually resonate with us. One that we can actually start to get behind and start to believe it. And there's different ways that you can approach this, but one of my favorites to use, and one that I have found tremendous success with, is I love how it feels. So for example, instead of an affirmation like, I am loved, he loves me unconditionally, he thinks of me and only me, which may sound quite difficult to believe, instead try to use the phrase, I love how it feels when I imagine my partner and I together. I love how it feels when I think of all the ways in which we are compatible together. I love how it feels when I imagine all of the things that we're going to do together and all the things that we're going to accomplish in this life. By taking that statement and adjusting it just a bit, it becomes more natural. It starts to actually resonate. And you can compare and contrast the difference between the two. And what most people find is that this statement resonates more because it's true. Because we do love how it feels when we think of us and our partner together. We do love how it feels when we think about how compatible we are and how much our lives are going to enrich each other. It does not feel forced or fake. Other ways in which we can rephrase is saying the words, I choose. I choose to show up today as my very best. I am choosing to no longer accept what doesn't serve me. This gives you that satisfaction of choice and feeling like you have a say in the matter, versus a very generalized statement that may not feel real to you at all. So just by rephrasing and reframing our affirmations, we can begin to make these very tailored and unique to us and to our situation. And we'll find that by doing so, we will be able to resonate that much more and thus become much more effective. So I want to wrap up this video by just making something very clear. And that is, this is not at all an attack on affirmations. This is not to say that it doesn't work or that you have to believe it or don't. None of that. I rarely like to use things in this kind of a black and white term, especially when talking about techniques. Because the truth is, everyone is going to be wildly different with how they approach this. People come from all different walks of life with their unique sets of beliefs, assumptions, what they feel is best, what they feel works, how they view themselves, their self-image, their self-esteem. Everyone is wildly unique. So I don't feel strongly that there is just a one-size-fit-all approach to manifestation, just like with anything else. From my personal experience, from the experience of those that I've coached, and from many psychologists and much research, self-affirmations are best utilized as one tool in a toolkit approach. This isn't to say that it will work or it won't work. It's going to be different for everyone. And that's why I always try to encourage people to explore, to experiment with different things and try new things. If affirmations have been a struggle for you in the past, experiment and play around with something else. And try to reframe it. Try to approach it with a question. Try to play with different ways and see what resonates for you. No two people are going to approach and react to the same circumstance the exact same way. And this is all about giving you guys the tools, and that's a plural, to help you live your best life possible. Because it is through finding what is helpful and what resonates with us the most that you will ultimately be able to best manifest the life you've always wanted. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you put your pitchforks down. If you did enjoy it, if you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are interested in checking out any of my other resources, I have links down below to my one-on-one coaching, my blog, my social channels, my podcast, my workshops, all that good stuff. I've got it down in the description box below, so don't forget to check it out. Also, don't forget to check out the other videos on this channel. Don't forget to check out my Manifestation Fundamentals playlist. Each video is a different topic, but it all talks about how to live your best life possible. So until we meet again, you guys, as always, please take care, be well, and never forget how powerful you truly are. Happy manifesting, guys.